Hello everyone, welcome to the War Zone. I'm Scruffy and this is Scruffy Tales. And this is a Frontline update recorded on the early morning hours of the 16th of December 2024. I'm sure there will be lots of updates during the day, so this is basically the Frontlines up to the 16th, so they're relevant for the 15th, yesterday. But we're going to take a look at it. Not much going on in Kursk or Kharkiv. Things are happening at Kupiansk. And things are unfolding as we expect them to do south of Pokrovsk. And we're once again going to take a look at what might be Russia's plan, how to overcome Kurakova and push on towards Andriivka and what have you. So let's get on with it. Right, so we're gonna use deep state because I haven't updated my own map and stuff like that. So anyway, deep state. This is for the 15th. Let's see, not much going on up in Kursk according to deep state. And I haven't really. Let's see here. This is no real changes here either. We have some Russian claims, but that's about it. Nothing confirmed. So let's stick with deep state. We might just take an. Hang on. See if we can update Mayakovsk 73. You know, maybe I should have done this before started recording. It is what it is. Collapse. Or hang on. This isn't updated in a couple of days, so we can't really rely on him. Oh yeah. Anyway, yeah, we're sticking with deep state for this update. Sorry about that. So we have Kursk. Not much going on there. Not much happening in at Kharkiv. But the interesting thing is here. If we go back to the 14th and 13th, we can see up here. Take a look at this. Here we have the Russians. They crossed the Oskil River, and 13th to 14th, boom, they expand, pushing in toward Dvorichna, and they've gone up on the high ground and are contesting some forests outside of Zapatne. So this is high ground. You have valleys. These are valleys here that where they're pushing in. I can show you here. Away you go. I don't need you. Let's see, Dvorichna, yeah, as you can see here, take a look. Russia's pushed up into these valleys here and moved up this way next to the cliffs, between the cliffs and the river, and moved into this forested area towards the southern outskirts of Dvorichna. That appears to be the case, and you see the same on IceW, Deep State, and Andrew Perpetua, and so on. So this is basically confirmed. This is happening. Sorry about that. God damn it. Anyway, we're now on the 14th. So take a look what happens on the 15th. Kaboom! We also had some Russian advances around Lozova on the 14th, and then Ukraine struck back at the edge of in this forested area here at Kolysnikivka. Andrew Perpetua also has some Ukrainian successes at Kupanki, or Stepny rather. No, Kupanki, yeah. So here you can see Russia is in control of these woods at Kolysnikivka, and then Ukraine pushes in on the 13th. Deep State has this as under Ukrainian control, but here it is contested. But still, this patch of woodlands here is obviously contested. The Russians are no longer in control. And then you have down here where Andrew has Ukraine pushing back into Kopanki and holding this small village. So if we head on over here, let's see if we can find these locations. here we have, yeah, this is the forest that where Ukraine has pushed in, still under Russian control, according to ISW. Here you have the valley, you have high ground, and it's actually located on a somewhat of a hill, isn't it? This is a hill. So it's a fairly important feature. You have some valleys here and a creek going down to the Oskil River. This is an important piece of terrain. If Russia can hold it, it's a good defensive posture. Forest, it is a hill defended by a natural moat. I mean, it's a fort, right? You have the moat here, and the forest acts as the castle, and then it's located on a hill. And so that Ukraine has managed to push back in here is actually pretty crucial. It's the same thing here for the Ukrainians on the other end, with a creek here that allows Ukraine to defend it if they reclaim the hill. So they can hide in the forest and use the high ground to shoot down on the Russians as they're trying to cross this lowland where you have a creek and a valley. And of course the village, if Ukraine can push into that village, that too is very important. And if we move down here, we have Kupiansk. Let's see what, it's mostly flat. Yeah, this is there is some changes in elevation here where you can move vehicles and troops and hide them, but not massive hills or mountains or valleys in this location. So here you have Ukraine pushing into Kupiansk and maybe soon be able to push towards Petrotravne. Interesting though, if you take a look where Russia is advancing, let's see if we can use Andrew here to highlight it. When they pushed out of Krokomalne and Tabaivka, then they moved towards Peshane, towards the Oskil River, and as you can see, they followed this valley here. Actually, why don't we highlight it like so? Well, right, so this is where they came down. Cover, you avoid the high ground, you avoid open fields, and you can move in cover in the valley here from town to town between the forested areas. So that is how they obviously advance on the high ground as well, but the main push was in the valley to utilize cover as much as possible. And here you can see the Russians are doing the same here towards Lozova, coming down a valley again, following a creek. That's where the cover is. You don't want to be up here on the wide open fields, because that is where drones will hunt you down. And so they are following the valleys and the creeks where you can find villages and towns where you have cover. You're not up here on the high ground where drones will kill you easily. So Russia is trying to utilize the cover that is available to move up on the Ukrainians, to stay away from being easily targeted by drones. So Lozova continued down this creek here, probably towards Nova Kruliakivka, maybe trying to come down this way towards Borivska Andrivka via Selenichai, right? So that's where you have the cover. That's where you can hide troops away from artillery, tank fire, and potentially drones, and what have you. And from Kupiansk, if Russia gains access to Kupiansk, you have more valleys here. As you can see, you can follow a creek in the valleys down towards Borova. So that's probably the plan here at the moment for the Russians. And yeah, so anyway, yeah, Kupiansk, and here this important forest here is where Ukraine has managed to push Russia back. Crucially so, I would say. I mean, things still favor Russia up here. Obviously, they have made the big gains, but being able to push back is important. It may unlock another push and so on, maybe down from Kolesnikivka towards Krylyakivka in the end, right? Pushing Russia back away from the Oskil, potentially. You never know. Now we're moving down from the Kupiansk area down to Pokrovsk, down here. And take a look a bit at Toretsk as well. 14th, 13th, down to 12th, 11th. Now, on the 9th of December, we saw some changes. Rather on the 11th, between the 9th and the 11th. But static lines at Toretsk for a couple of days. Not strange, it's a big town with lots of urban areas surrounding it. It is a difficult terrain to advance through as an attacker, which we should keep in mind. It's basically Chasiv Yar, it's the same thing, isn't it? You have, so I'm back on the 7th now, and first of December. So 2 weeks, they made some gains up here. Chasiv Yar. So, I mean, keep that in mind. Russia hasn't entered Mirnorad or Pokrovsk yet. And they're struggling at Toretsk and Chasiv Yar. Not to mention Vovchansk. And they tried to make that big push into Kupiansk that failed. So, Russia has not entered Mirnorad and Pokrovsk yet. Keep that in mind. These battles probably going to continue well far into 2025 once Russia launches an assault on these two cities. Anyway, let's take a look. This is we're going back to the 12th of December. We have the pocket here, and boom, they closed the pocket. Ukraine probably fell back in its entirety, and then you had this, where you have a push towards Konstantinopolsk, Sukyali, and Selenivka. I think you also have some. Yeah, take a look. Russia is close to surrounding Makarivka as well. No clue why we're holding on as die-hard as we are down here. Or if this might be a couple of days old and Ukraine has already left. I would hope they have left. Why hold on when you're about to be encircled? And they really should move north to defend Velyka Novosilka instead. But hey, what do I know? And Russia is expanding slowly up here towards Novovelivka and Ukrainka and Yasenova. And like I said in my video last night, that brief video, I think that maybe we're seeing what Russia is after. I think they want to come up along this river here towards Andrivka, grab this territory, and I think that they're gonna try and make a push for Andrivka from the north as well, coming down along the main highway here, like so, something like that, attacking Andrivka from the north and the south, and in so doing, kind of like down here right? It's a big ass pincer move that will put pressure on the Ukrainians here, cut supplies to Kharkov. Ukraine will be forced to fall back because the Russians are closing in from the north towards Andrivka and the south, and Ukraine will have to abandon all of this and fall back to avoid a disaster, at which point Russia would have secured this territory, obviously. And what does that mean? Well, that means Russia secures this highway here from Donetsk through Kharkov to Andrivka, Yasenova, all the way up to Shevchenko. And now you have logistics leading from Donetsk to Kharkov, Andrivka, Shevchenko, and you are ready to launch an assault on Pokrovsk once you've broken through the perimeter defense here. Right between Shevchenko and Pokrovsk. So I think we're seeing the intentions of a pincer move here, with Andrivka being the focal point that will force Ukraine to abandon a large chunk of territory. And we've kind of seen the same approach up in Kursk. Here, god damn it, where I mean, a month or two ago, Ukraine was holding on to something like this, and Russia tried to come down from Pogrebki towards Malaya Lokna, and they went through Nova Ivanovka towards Malaya Lokna. You have a bridge here, and you have a bridge here, or two bridges. And what Russia wanted to do was to basically trap these Ukrainians and force them to surrender, or force them to fall back once they managed to come in behind them. This has obviously failed. Ukraine pushed back to Pogrebki, and they've destroyed the Russian columns trying to reach Malaya Lokna, and Ukraine is now holding territory in Nova Ivanovka. But you can see the same intentions, right? And Russia did something similar when they took Plekovo. Ukraine was holding on to Plekovo, so Russia came in this way and secured a bridge, and then they came in this way and cut the logistics from Guevo to Plekovo, after which Plekovo was weakened, no logistics was coming in, and Russia could move in and take the town. So outflanking, cutting logistics, pincer moves, it's a classic. It's what you see in every war in history, and I think therefore it is what we will, except for here. I thought, vain as I am, I thought Russia would come in through Chasiv Yar and come up this way. This is high ground between some creeks, as you can see, and try and link up here to avoid the massive city fights in Toretsk and New York and what have you, and cut these supply lines, the few supply lines leading into this area. But no, they went with the frontal assault. No clue why they did that. Obviously, command in this area has different ideas on how to wage a war compared to command up in Kursk. But hey, it is what it is. But I think that the guys in charge of this operation, I think they might be trying to implement the ideas that are somewhat successful in Kursk. And I think that we will see a move from the north towards Andriivka, and that they will push up along the river here as well towards Andriivka, and in so doing force the Ukrainians here to eventually fall back. And then Russia has, of course, secured the supplies from Donetsk, Kharkov, Andriivka, all the way up to Shevchenko, and they are ready to make an assault on Pokrovsk eventually. So yeah, like I said at the start, things will probably happen. Things will be updated during the day. But take it for what it is. These maps were relevant yesterday, and tonight we will probably see updates for what's been going on in the last 24-48 hours. But anyway, I hope you found it interesting. I hope I'll see you in the next one. As always, go på marsch, Ukraine, and give them hell.